Hey y'all, welcome back to Beyond Graceland. I'm Emily, and today I thought it would be kind of fun to talk about some book recommendations, specifically for those who may be new to Elvis and trying to just get a little bit more information on him, background, just how he became such the superstar that he is today, why his legacy continues on through things like YouTube and fans talking about him. So, with that being said, I chose these books. Was really something that's going to give you just a well-rounded, factual foundation of who Elvis was and where he came from, where the influence, character, timeline all connect. And having these elements can give you the best understanding of who Elvis was and the forever star that he became. So the first book that I would recommend somebody who's kind of just getting into Elvis is Last Train to Memphis by Peter Gralnick, right here. This is actually a part one. He split up his research and his book really into two books. And so this is the first one. I've got the other one on audio, which I do prefer a physical copy of books, but for whatever reason, I just got that one. I may have actually just rented it from Libby. If you're not familiar with that, you can get a Libby app on your phone and you get it through your library, your local library, and you can rent audiobooks. You can also rent just digital forms of the book, like on your Kindle, and it all syncs up as well. Or go with Amazon. I have an Audible account. You can do that as well. And I'll talk about some recommendations on that as well. But this is such a good book. Its full title is The Rise of Elvis Presley, Last Train to Memphis. This was, of course, a national bestseller. And Peter Gralnick, I also have, hold on, I'll get that for you real quick. I also have his book on Sam Phillips, the man who invented rock and roll. This is a fantastic book as well. So if you're looking to connect some of those dots with Sun Studios and Memphis Recording Services, Sam Phillips, this is really good. Very surprising, eye-opening, shocking stories of Sam and his personal life. But man, I mean, without Sam Phillips, there's no Elvis Presley. So you can add that one to your list as well. I will say one thing about Gralnick's writing. It's if you're, and I hate to say this, but maybe it's because I'm not a very good reader. I don't know. I read a lot, but don't consider myself a very fast reader or anything like that. Sometimes it gets a little wordy. Sometimes I think he likes to use a little bit more sophisticated vocabulary than I'm used to, but it's not hard to understand because these are just life stories, facts, accounts from people and research. So, but anyways, great book. Also, make sure that you check out Careless Love to go along with this. Next, I've got kind of an interesting pick, I think. But I think a lot of people, this falls off their radar a little bit. It's a little bit older book, but I think that it is a really good introductory book into Elvis, and that is Elvis and Gladys by Elaine Dundee. And I had always seen this because I used to go to the bookstores all the time, and I would always have to hit up the biography section and look at all the Elvis books. And I've done that ever since I was a kid. And this was always one that I would just pass over. I didn't care about reading about Gladys. But it is way more than that. Yes, it does start out pretty far back. So like this chapter 2, Gladys's Roots. And it really goes into her family history. It's very unique, old Southern, but it's just a really good from start to finish, or at least for Gladys, because it ends, I think, probably, around her death. It's been a little while since I've read this, but I had recently reread it, but in my reread, I've only gotten halfway through. But there's a lot of research that went into this. And it was published in 1985, so less than 10 years after Elvis passed away. So there's some fresh content in here as far as who she's interviewing, in doing her research to write this book. We've got a lot of Elvis's old childhood, schoolmates, and a lot of fun stories back in Tupelo before Memphis and on into Memphis. It gives you a better understanding of what was going on in Gladys's life, some of the things that she was dealing with Elvis and becoming famous and all of that. And a lot of times people leave Gladys out of the overall story because I guess they think that it was just too maybe focused on her struggles with Elvis becoming famous, her health struggles as well. And, those things are just part of life. And I think that, she has just as an important role as anyone else does. And so this is just a really good book, really good foundational types research in here that will give you some great understanding and knowledge on Elvis and another person he became. So really good book here. And you can find all these books on Amazon. None of these are going to be hard to find. One that I think maybe some people might get a little tiff about, and that's only because I've seen that kind of attitude and rhetoric on some of these YouTube channels, some of these Elvis fan YouTube channels, is when you get to talking about the family and how some, I guess, are a little resentful and all of that. But we don't do that on this channel. But I do think that a really good book is Elvis by the Presleys. I really shouldn't have put these over there. But I think that this is a great book. They had a special, this came out, I would say 2005, 2006-ish. Probably 2005. Maybe 6. But there is a DVD that also goes along with this. I think you can probably find most of this stuff on online, probably. You could stream it. But I have the DVD because when it came out, I just thought it was great. And this is going to be the Presley family members, the more inner instead of extended family. We've got Priscilla Presley. We've got Lisa Marie. Here is a page of all of the family members that are interviewed in this. And we've got Patsy Presley. If you're not familiar with Patsy, then that was Elvis's first double cousin. And what that is Elvis's dad, Vernon, and Patsy's dad, Vester, married Gladys, which is Elvis's, let me not have too many pauses here, married Gladys's sister, Cletz. And I think I'm pronouncing that right. Some people say Cletus, but I don't think that's it. I think it's Cletz. And so that makes them double first cousins. And yeah, I think that those are the people that did know Elvis more intimately than you're going to hear on some of these channels as far as the entourage goes, which, pretty much, I think there's only like maybe just a few still living, if you want to count them in the entourage. You've got Jerry Schilling, of course, Billy Smith, his cousin, Larry Geller. Is he still alive? I don't know, maybe. But anyways, I just think that I love how this is written because it's just written, as they're going. So you've got Patsy here talking, you've got Priscilla, and then Lisa Marie will go on. And then there's just the pictures are so neat. It's a lot of personal things in here. Like here's some, one of Elvis's favorite colognes. The TV room bar. I mean, I just really like this book a lot. And these are coming from people that were around him the most, at least in that specific time when, Priscilla was still living there and all of that. And as far as like some of those, I don't know, some people still just get angry about Priscilla. But, I truly believe, and not just because of any sort of personal reasons or just picking a side, like everything that I've read and I've been a fan. The first time I ever went to Graceland was in 1987. Like 10 years after he died, I mean, Aunt Delta was still living there. You couldn't go into the kitchen. I truly believe that, if there was no Priscilla Presley, the legacy, the continued legacy of Elvis doesn't happen. Graceland for sure doesn't happen. These videos don't happen. The movies, all of that doesn't happen without Priscilla and Lisa Marie. So, I think what they do is 100% for Elvis and his continued flame to burn bright for new generations of fans. I don't know why anybody would want to badmouth them in any way. I understand when it comes to family dynamics and family feuds for whatever reason. I totally get that. But when you're talking about a mutual, you know, entity like Elvis, like I just don't think that you should be bad mouthing him because, to be honest with you, and I brought these other books out. There's a book here that a lot of people will say, don't ever read that book. Like, that's the worst book ever written. How could they do that? Blah, blah, blah. I don't think it's actually the worst one. I think this one is the worst one. So, which I have read bits and pieces because I wanted to form that opinion for myself. But it didn't take it took like a chapter to say, like, this is the worst ever written book on Elvis. Hello. And in these books, a lot of times people will say don't read them because it was just too much personal information that was released. Elvis would have never appreciated that and, really broke his heart. But I say read them. And honestly, the one that I see the most that gets talked about in this sort of realm about breaking Elvis's heart, losing his trust, like you should never like say these things. And that is Elvis, What Happened by Sonny and Red West, along with Dave Hebler. It talks about the drug abuse, the prescription drug abuse. It talks about some other things in here that some people may find shocking. At least not really like by today's standards, but I mean, when this book came out in 1977, right before he died, maybe. There was a couple of other things in there that maybe a little odd, a little weird, but what do you do when you're Elvis Presley and you have no access to actually go do anything, or you're always really bored and you're struggling internally. But this book, read it, tell me what you think. You know what? We could always have a book club. How does that sound? Would anybody who's watching, like, I don't know, not that many people are watching this channel yet, but if that's something that you're interested in, let me know, because I would love to start a book club. I actually have another book channel here, so yeah. So anyways, read this. I think that this book is what it is. I don't think that I'll say this, a lot of the times I will hear other members of the entourage bash the people from this. In the entourage, I don't know how it was when Elvis was alive and they were, if they were current members of the Memphis Mafia. If there were cliques with involved, there probably were. I think there were, but I think there's even more so now. And you can kind of tell with the books, because you've got this one. And then a lot of times you'll hear from someone, Billy Smith, who's still alive, kind of talk bad about some of these other writers, and or even, Priscilla Presley. But honestly, after reading this book, if I was Priscilla Presley, I wouldn't have anything to do with any of these people. Billy Smith, Lamar Fike, and Marty Lacker. Lamar and Marty are no longer living, but yeah, this is the book that, this is like if you told some of your best friends, the people that you confided in on personal issues or even personal things, like sexual. it would be like telling those people that you trusted most, your best friends, and then them go and put it all in a book. Yeah, like read it for yourself, but I don't recommend that new fans read this book because I don't want you to get like some sort of weird taste in your mouth. There are some cool things in here. However, you kind of have to keep in mind who's saying these things. So this one's written just like the Presley book, Elvis by the Presleys, where it's, each person is saying things. It's basically like an interview that was just put in a book. And a lot of it, I think, came from, when they did that, All the King's Men, maybe, or maybe that came after, because that one, they are all together, right? And this one is just Billy, Marty, and Lamar. Lamar was with him the longest from the very beginning to the very end. Okay. Billy was around as a child. So, sometimes, he's getting secondhand accounts from like older family members. Marty came along, I guess in the early 60s. So, or maybe the late 50s. I'm not real sure about that. But yeah, I mean, you kind of have to understand you're getting the bros perspective, his bros. And apparently they weren't that great of bros because they're like literally like they are going all out on some of these very personal things about Priscilla. And so obviously Priscilla didn't tell them that. Maybe Elvis did. I don't know. But it's like, what are the guys? What's the locker room talk? Is that getting embellished or whatever? But yeah, I mean, I have absolutely like, if I was Priscilla, probably wouldn't have anything to do with Billy Smith either, or any of the other guys when they were living. And I know like there's a lot of beef with that. And we can have that as a discussion, like maybe some of the inner family dynamics that's been going on throughout the years and currently. I mean, but Billy worked at Graceland when it first opened. I mean, but he acts like he hasn't been back since Elvis died. So I don't know. And then he's never going back. But anyways, I don't want this to like become like a feud thing because I have seen a feud with that group and some others. And I just think that I mean, first of all, for adults to do that, that's ridiculous because we really just need to focus on Elvis. But I just wanted to kind of put out some points on where the information is coming from with these books. And so these two, the lesser evil, I think, is this one. And a lot of people will probably disagree, but I mean, read them because there's not as many personal like things that you shouldn't talk about. Like, yeah, the reason that this one was put out because of the drug issue, and they thought maybe that he would see it and want to do something, which I think is true. I think that was some truth to that, but also that it's money. Money with this one because I don't know what these people were doing after Elvis. They might have been on hard times. I mean, I don't know. I'm sure they made a lot of money from this book, or maybe at the time it was a lot of money and they signed a bad deal. But anyways, some other cool books though that I think that you might like if you're just getting into Elvis, and then also if you're kind of past that point, like you've been a fan for a while and you want to learn just a little bit more of the inside story. I think books like George Klein's book is great. Again, it might maybe look like I'm picking sides, but I'm trying not to, and just going by what's been written by these people. And so George was kind of in the entourage, kind of not, but he was one of Elvis's close friends. He went to high school with him. And so I really like this book a lot. And this is also a signed copy before George passed away. Yes, this was, what year was that? 2010. Super good book. Now, some of my favorite books are the ones by Elvis's girlfriends. So one of my favorite books is actually Elvis, The Twilight of a Memory by June Waniko, his girlfriend that he had from Biloxi, Mississippi. I just love that book. Sometimes when I'm driving like a long distance, I'll put that book on because I just love it. And I haven't read a hard copy. It's a little bit hard to find. And then if you find it like a hard copy on maybe eBay, they want to jack the prices up on those for some reason. I don't know why. But that is a super, super, super good book. I think it's probably my favorite book, that Elvis book. Another one that I really liked was Anita Wood, her book. I don't own a copy of that one, but I read that one on. I believe I read that from Libby. I rented it, the Kindle version. You can get that sent to your Kindle app, and really, really liked that one. My favorite thing in that book was how she described Elvis's bedroom and the coloring. So that would have been, like how it was originally done for him with the blue, like all of the blue. Like it was blue on blue on blue, apparently. And even the bathroom where there was like light blue, maybe like a powder blue, and then a dark navy blue with the sink and everything. And so I thought that was really cool. Because like for some reason, I'm always trying to find or picture in my head what Graceland looked like when Elvis first changed it. When he was first doing the renovations, because we don't really have any pictures of that. The profile picture to this channel is like one of the only, may be the only color photo or photo session when he was taken right before he, or was in the army, but before he was going to Germany, right before Gladys died, is the blue. And we can see the blue in the living room, and a little smidge of the red carpet that you can see there. But that's one of the things that draws me towards these books. I believe it's in the Last Train to Memphis, where he talks about. Did I lose it? Where he talks about how he originally wanted it purple. So right here it says, for his bedroom, he told the newspapers he was going to have the quote, darkest blue there is. And then with a mirror that will cover one side of the room. I probably will have a black bedroom suit trimmed with white leather with a white rug. The entrance hall, he said, would be decorated with a sky effect, with tiny lights for stars and clouds painted on the ceiling. And he intended to build, quote, a swimming pool on the south side of the house with a large sunken patio leading to the pool. Purple walls with gold trim for the living and dining rooms. So I just think that it's so neat to like get these accounts and, go back into these old newspaper articles with quotes, coming from them while they're decorating this brand new mansion that is probably the biggest house they have ever stepped foot into. But anyways, I think that's some pretty good books to get you going. Like I said, if y'all are into reading these Elvis books and you want to have some sort of a, very casual Elvis book club, let me know. I would be more than happy to do something with that because I love book clubs. I love books. I love reading. And I especially love Elvis. So anyways, thanks so much for checking out this video. If you've got any comments that you want to leave me, right down there below. And if you like this video, please hit the thumbs up. It will help the channel grow, as well as subscribing to it to see more Elvis videos just like this one. All right, y'all. Thanks so much. I'll see you in the next one.